Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, the 2DS is one step closer to becoming a literal doorstop. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I'm joined, as I'm always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. Oh my God. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including the end of online for the Wii U and the 3DS. And then on Thursday, we're talking about our favorite members of Nintendo royalty. But Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
It's going great. Man, I forgot how crazy that original 2DS was.
That original 2DS is like a little wedge shape. It's like the thing that you would put in a shoe so it doesn't lose its shape. And now it's not going to have online anymore.
It's so, the upgrade in aesthetics from the original 2DS to the new 2DS are bonkers. Like, the original 2DS is just like, it's just so crazy. So looking back on it.
Oh, it is.
It's so ugly.
It's so ugly, but it's also such a good. And look, this gets lobbed around at Nintendo as like a criticism, but like it's such a good child's plaything.
No, it's true. Like in the fourth Indiana Jones movie, when he crawls into the refrigerator to like avoid because it's like lead lined,
right?
Avoid you could build a bunker out of original 2DS.
Right, they're invincible. They're like the original Game Boy, basically.
Yes.
But just like a refrigerator, it could protect you from the radiation, but you would still just get like liquefied being thrown. Mark, I was at an Airbnb this weekend, and the place that we were staying in had a large DVD collection and a large CD collection, and we were going through the DVDs, and we were like, wow. A lot of Angelina Jolie movies in here. Just like a lot of them. And like deeper cuts too. They had Changeling, right? Like we're like, okay, all right, I don't know, maybe just an Angelina Jolie fan. And then we went over to the CD collection. We found Billy Bob Thornton's Private Radio is the name of his record. What do you think was going on there?
Seems like super fans to me, and of their maybe specific relationship from the early 2000s.
I think that's
late
possible.
90s, yeah.
Which, by the way, Private Radio came out in 2001. We played a little game with it because we were like, "This thing is it's a bizarre relic, right?
Is it bluesy?
Bad." It is bluesy. It is frequently kind of like honky tonky. Every track we were like, oh, he's doing like a Leonard Cohen thing here. He's doing a Tom Waits thing here. He's trying to be Tom Petty here. Like that's sort of the vibe that he was living in, but bad. There are 12 songs on this record. Okay. And most of them are multi-word titles. Okay. So we played a game where you had to guess the last word in the song title. Would you like to play some of this right now?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So the first three, you're gonna guess the first one, and then the next two are one word titles, so that you can calibrate based on that. Okay. So the first one is dark and blank.
Mysterious?
Okay, so it's dark and mad.
Okay.
Mad. Okay. Track number 2 is forever, and track number 3 is Angelina. All right. The table is set. So now, Mark, the next track, Starlight.
I want to say Express.
You should go with your instincts and just say it's Starlight Lounge. Track number 5, Walk of
Shame.
Did it? You nailed it.
All right.
This one's tough. Track number 6, Smoking in.
And this is one word?
It's one word, yes.
Bed.
Yes, oh my God, how did you do that? Track number 7, Your Blue.
Shoes?
Very close. Shadow. Your Blue Shadow.
Okay.
Track number 8, we're going to skip it.
How was that close?
Because it started with SH.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, I'll take it.
Track number 8 is That Mountain. That's it. That's the end of it. That's it. Track number 9, He Was a Friend of Blank.
Mine?
Yeah, you're really good at this. Are you a Thornton head?
Oh, you were staying at my Airbnb.
Only 3 left. Track number 10, Private Blank.
Thoughts?
No, it's Private Radio, the name of the record.
Fitting.
Number 11, Beauty at the Back.
Door?
That's correct. And track number 12, Lost Blank.
Love?
Lost Highway. Mark, I think you got 4 of these right.
Wow. Billy Bob Thornton and I are really on a similar wavelength.
Yeah, I mean, well, you do have that vial of Angelina Jolie's blood that you wear around your neck.
That's true.
Like a necklace. If you would like to support us, you can go to patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where you can get access to our once-a-month miniseries episodes. We are currently making our way through NCS Goes Broadway. Mark, we just put out an episode on The Music Man.
That's right. It's a really good episode, too.
Yes. So go and you can support us there if that is of interest to you. And there are other perks there, like you will be able to choose from some options of what our next miniseries is going to be.
That's right. We will be running a poll perilously soon where anybody who's a member of the Patreon at any level will be able to cast a vote and decide the fate of the next miniseries.
And either way, if you're supporting us on Patreon or not, you should get in our Discord. Email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com, and I will send you a link to the Discord, and you can chat with other people about Nintendo stuff, and it's a good time. Mark, you have a debug listed here for us.
I have a debug. Last week, we talked a little bit in the beginning of the episode about Click and Yes Man, and you said, aren't they really similar? And I took a pretty hard stance that no, they were not similar. But then I thought about it over the past week, and
this is like an emotional debug.
I still hold that they are very, very different movies, and yet I think they share one very fundamental thing, and that is the kind of like crux, the lesson of the movie is not to let life pass you by.
Okay.
And so in that way, I think you were right. Click and Yes Man, not that different.
Can I put forth another similarity?
Please.
That makes them, in my mind, like the exact same movie. In that they are both movies that I have not seen.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So
that'll do it.
That makes me a pretty good authority on what these movies are. All right, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week. So I've not had a ton of time to play games, but I have put more time into Disney Speedstorm. And it reminded me that there was something that I badly wanted to talk about when we were talking about it last week, and it's that the tracks from all these games, or from the tracks for this game, are all based on different locations in Disney movies. There's a couple Mulan ones. There's like a black and white Mickey one. There's Jungle Book, like all stuff like that. But the music for these tracks are like club remixes of Disney tunes.
Oh.
So when you're going through like the Mulan levels, there are like, thumping bass renditions of Be a Man. And it's, when we were first playing it, Sarah and I kind of had like the volume down and we were like, chatting with each other and whatever. But I was playing it by myself the other night and was like, this is cool.
Oh, they're good?
Yeah, I mean, it is both simultaneously like the dorkiest thing ever and like I'm having a great time. But I'm playing Disney Speedstorm, so like I don't know what I want, right?
That is incredible. It also makes me wonder. I know anytime Disney Speedstorm comes up, we talk about Figment, the purple dragon from Epcot's Journey into...
What are you about? Journey into Imagination.
Yeah,
So I did hover over his grayed out profile picture, and it did say not available at this time.
Okay, got it.
So I have to imagine that the opportunity to give the game money to buy Figment will come up at some point.
But has passed for now.
Well,
my question, my question coming out of that was, does every character have a track, like a racetrack and music tracks? Because Figment, if it was set in the journey in your imagination, the Imagination Pavilion at Epcot, plus it had that theme song.
Right.
I mean, that would be just more money.
Game of the year.
just be more reason to spend money on the Figment stuff.
Yeah, so I don't know yet. And it's as I play more of the game, the kind of like linearity of its progression is not. I don't feel like it's slow, but I am feeling a little bit like when I turn it on, I would just have to like do the next thing and then like accomplish that and then do the next thing after that. It's less. You're never really in a position where you're just like selecting the track you want to race and like who you want to race as. Like it's all very based on how and when you unlock stuff. So it's I'm maybe a week later a little less glowing on it than I was last week, but I think even last week I was like, it's surprising that it's good. And I still think it is surprising and good, but not great.
I have been continuing to play Sea of Stars, and last week I finished the second act and thought I was probably close to being done. And then a couple of people in the Discord said, you may not be as close as you think you are because the last part of the game kind of sounded like a slog from what they were saying. And now I don't know where I am. I think I'm like really close, but this might just be a false like feeling because I reached a point that basically the map opens up and I can just fly around the map and go wherever I want without really having to.
Oh, okay.
So I can just go anywhere.
Right.
And the game gives you a message that is like, if you want to, what I think is saying, if you want to do the final battle,
right,
you can do that now, or you can go to places you haven't been before or whatever.
I like that clarity,
but this is where I'm confused because I didn't feel like from the end of Act 2 to where I am now was especially long, so it makes me wonder if I am not correct, and there is actually I can start the path to the final boss,
but it's much longer.
Like much longer than expected. So I don't really know, but I think because when I saw that message, I'm like, oh, I actually must be really close, and if that's true, I think I'm right on the cusp of finishing it.
Yeah,
because I'm not that interested in like seeing the areas of the map that I haven't gone to. A lot of them are like seem to be little mini dungeons that give you better gear, and every time you complete one of these you flash to a cave or something someplace that another light either turns on or turns off, and there's like 4 or 5 of them, maybe 6. And it's like, okay, so I've done. I know it sounds like I just have vague, like dreamlike impressions.
Are you sure you're playing this game?
Like I'm trying to describe this.
You're not just
game
rubbing it against your head
after I've like come out of surgery or something. But so I know that there is like more I could pursue, but I'm ready to wrap it up, and so I think I'm right at the end, and I'm hoping to be able to finish it before Wonder comes out in a couple of weeks.
A week and a half.
Yeah.
So very soon. And you continue to enjoy it?
I am enjoying it. Yeah, I'm ready for it to be over with,
yeah.
But just in the way where it's like, yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've had my fill. I want to see it to the end, but I'm ready for it to be over.
Can we talk about that feeling of like knowing that you are at like the end game of a thing and then being like kind of disappointed with how much more there is left, to be like, oh man, like I thought I was ending this. Like I feel like I sort of had the first part of that with Tears of the Kingdom, where I had cleared the 4 atmospheric phenomenon. I did a little like running around, and then I was like, okay, all right, great, I'm ready to do this final approach. But that's so far from the final approach.
Yes, yeah.
But like it won me back, right? And I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm glad that I had all this extra time with it. But yeah, there really is a thing of like, okay, I'm going into this final dungeon, and you're like, this final dungeon just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, sometimes I just get really impatient.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I feel like I've had my experience with the game, but I'm so close to being finished that I just want to see it through.
Yeah.
That sometimes by the end, I'm just like, okay, let's just get this over with. And I'm not there yet with Sea of Stars. Like, I am enjoying it, but I don't want it to be another 10 hours. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
ready in 2 or 3 hours for it to be over with.
Yeah. And then when you're done, you go back to Chrono Cross? You're never playing that game again.
I don't know that I am. I don't know that I am ever playing Chrono Cross again.
You'd have to remember where you were and what you were doing.
I would have to start over.
Yeah, well, yes. We would both have to start over. Maybe we start over together. I don't know. something we could do. All right, that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
So not really anything coming out this week. Last week we talked about Dementium the Ward, that Nintendo DS game that was being re-released on Switch. That comes out on Thursday, October 12th. And then on Friday, October 13th, Batman Arkham Trilogy was supposed to come out, but that has been delayed to December 1st.
So, okay, if you were going to play Batman on Switch, which I am still like, who... Play it anywhere else, right? Like, it's going to be a better version of the collection, almost certainly anywhere else. But they're delaying it for like a month.
Yeah,
month and a half.
Yeah, about a month and a half. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe technical reasons.
Was this going to be a physical release, right?
It is. Yeah.
That's weird, right? That they're at this point delaying it.
Yeah, who knows? They didn't say. I don't think they said why. So maybe it's like a logistics thing. Maybe it is they need a little more time to polish it. Like, who knows?
There's also I see in our notes here that the retail version of Red Dead Redemption on Switch is coming out on the 13th as well. Do you think that comes with like just a huge download?
I don't think so. I think it's supposed to all be on the cart.
What?
But it's you do have to remember that it's a PlayStation 3 era game.
Yeah, but it also has the Undead Nightmare. And the reason that it's so big, right, is that it's full of like voice acting and like all this audio stuff, right? All this stuff that is like hard to compress or just like takes up a lot of data.
Yeah, you're right. I'm trying to see right now whether it is
like includes a enormous download as part of it. Remember how that used to be like on like the Doom Eternal?
Oh, totally, yeah.
That it would let you know, like, look out, you have to download a bunch of stuff.
I'm trying to look. I can't tell.
Yeah.
It's 11.5 gigabytes on the eShop.
Well, not bad.
So I think that can
not bad.
I think that can all fit on a cart.
That's a good point, I guess, that it was a place. But like LA Noire, that was also a PlayStation 3 game, right? And that had a huge download.
Yeah,
associated
that's
with
true.
It.
I don't know.
Maybe they've negotiated better rates for the bigger carts. Maybe that's what's going on. Mark, we figured it out. All right, let's close out the new releases. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, you've posed the question, what monster is our perfect significant other?
That's right. Staying in kind of the spooky Halloween spirit.
And you are not letting us just say what the answer is.
No.
We got another BuzzFeed quiz.
We got another BuzzFeed quiz. And are we taking this together? So like collectively perfect significant other?
Who's the NCS monster boyfriend?
Yes.
I like that.
Okay, so which
When you play Monster Prom, do you have one of the characters that you're gunning for?
Yeah, I really liked Monster Prom, and my memory is that wasn't there like a werewolf or a wolfman that had like a Letterman jacket?
Yeah, he's like a jock werewolf.
Yeah,
He's like a good sweet boy. That's Ryan Mogi's favorite from Monster Prom as well. There was some kind of like mopey ghoul whose name I can't remember. I always went after him.
Well, let's see how close we get this time.
Close?
Which Halloween bop would get you onto the dance floor?
Okay.
Monster Mash?
Sure.
Thriller? This is Halloween from The Nightmare Before Christmas? Emperor's New Clothes by Panic at the Disco? Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult? Spooky Scary Skeletons by The Living Tombstone? Superstition by Stevie Wonder? Witchy Woman by the Eagles? Seemingly if they have magic words in the title, they are part of this list.
First of all, I could not believe you kept listing options. There are so many options there. So which gets me on the dance floor? Is it different than just like which is my favorite?
I think so.
And I think Superstition.
Okay.
Is honestly my favorite song of these.
That sounds great.
And is a good one to dance to.
Okay. You meet a total hottie online and decide to have a Halloween first date.
Okay.
What are you bringing to protect yourself in case they're not who they say they are?
Garlic.
Let's see. Is that...
Oh, God. Oh, God. Keep going.
Okay. Garlic bread. What's the best food for a Halloween party? The Bats and Jacks pretzels from Utz, Halloween cookies, blood punch, Scooby snacks, chocolate coins, veggies with peanut butter, dry ice cream, or cocktails.
These are snacks for a Halloween
party?
party?
A Halloween party.
I don't know. Ice cream? What do you think?
Is that... Sure, yeah, we'll go with ice cream. Which costume would you consider this year? A character from my favorite Disney movie, a sexy pirate, a sheet ghost, 80s jazzercise instructor, anything sexy, my favorite TV show character, anything gory or truly frightening, a pun like holy cow or serial killer.
I don't know. What are you feeling here? I was immediately bumping on like my favorite Disney character and a sexy pirate and how those are probably the same. We're talking about the same character, right?
Let's go with sheet ghosts.
Sheet ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are your plans for Halloween
Low
night?
effort.
Make out with a stranger, Ouija sesh, steal candy from children, party hop, scare children, probably buying candy for myself, watching scary movies, or trick-or-treating.
Let's go watching scary movies.
Okay. Which classic spooky movie has got to go? Monster House, Hocus Pocus, Hotel Transylvania, Dracula, Corpse Bride, or Ghostbusters? Oh, no, there's more. Halloween Town or The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Okay, sorry. Start at the top again.
Monster House, Hocus Pocus.
What's Monster House?
It's an animated movie about a monster house.
Get rid of it.
Okay. What really gets you going? Claws, money.
All right. Well, that's. Is this our final?
This is the final question.
Okay.
Actually,
then we are pausing this.
Okay.
Applause.
Claws, money, them playing hard to get, ab pics, horns, killer smile, liberal arts major, or lacking a corporeal form.
These are the things that really get us going.
I
guess. Oh God, I don't know. What do you think?
I'm gonna go
claws.
Claws. There we go. And Beetlejuice.
All right. I mean, honestly, if Beetlejuice showed up and was like, "Want to be your sweetie for Halloween?" Like, I'd do it.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah.
The real answer is Ghost. But then they have a picture of Beetlejuice.
Oh.
And I suppose Beetlejuice is a ghost of
Beetlejuice
sorts.
died.
But I don't consider Beetlejuice a ghost.
No, he's like some kind of mischievous demon.
Yeah, he is undead.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. But, like...
Ghost?
Yeah.
Also, ghosts don't have claws.
I guess probably...
This is all based on saying...
getting rid of Monster House is what did us in.
That's true. There is a Monster House in Beetlejuice. I didn't think about it like that. All right. We were accompanied today by the EBU, Your Radio Orchestra. Mark, let's get into the news. Also, I do just want to apologize for that music flub. I don't know what I was reaching for something and just like hit the button to play the music, panic, and like skipped ahead to the I'm a mess.
Nintendo has announced that online support for the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U will end in April 2024. We don't have a specific date yet,
right?
Just that sometime in early April. This means that online multiplayer for games including Mario Kart 8, the original Splatoon, Smash Bros. 4, Triforce Heroes, Mario Kart 7, and more will no longer work.
Right. So it's important to say what this is not. This is not you can't download previously purchased eShop games. You can still do that. That functionality is, to this point, not gone yet.
And in their message, they also include a point that Pokemon Bank will still work.
Yep.
For now. I feel like we should all just assume that at some point Pokemon Bank will stop working, but that they will give a heads up when that is going to be the case.
I mean, I think we have to accept, just as human beings, that any online service that we pay for will at some point cease to be.
They also mention in their help article that if something happens, they may just have to end support for a game early. And I'm assuming that's like, if they encounter a bug or like something like that.
Sure, if there's some kind of security vulnerability or something like that. Yeah, that makes sense. And that rather than let it persist with that vulnerability, they would just shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's just kind of the next step in the Wii U and 3DS becoming dead systems. Back in March, the eShops stopped allowing purchases of new titles. Like you mentioned, you can already download it, or you can continue to download previous purchases.
Yes.
And then the Miiverse was shut down way back in November 2017.
Right. But I mean, it is important to remember that in all of these contexts, it sounds like all of multiplayer is going away. We mentioned Triforce Heroes, obviously Federation Forces, Metroid Prime Federation Forces is also like on that list. Those are games that the online multiplayer for them is toast. They will still be able to do the local multiplayer over like the local wireless connection.
That's right.
Which is also true with the 3DS is that they Street Pass still works. So like it's really just anything that requires like a signal from the home base at Nintendo pinging the server and then therefore communicating back to your 3DS or your Wii U. That stuff is going away by the end of April. What do you see as the like big, or do you see any like big things that we're like actually losing that aren't replaced in some other way by stuff that's on the Switch?
Yeah, I mean, most of the heavy hitters have, like Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS or Mario Kart 8. Yes, there is like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah.
And same with Smash 4. There's Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Or even,
I mean,
like Splatoon, but it feels like
Yeah.
all of these are kind of, you are losing something from Smash 4 not having its online multiplayer anymore, or Splatoon. I feel like Splatoon for sure.
Splatoon is something, but did you ever try to play Smash 4 online?
No,
it is. I mean,
I only ever had the 3DS version.
Right, but you could take it online.
Right. I just never even bothered to try.
And it's bad, right? Like it is not. It's not a good proposition. And I sort of feel like that was my experience with, outside of a handful of games, that like the Wii U just wasn't giving me a satisfying online experience. Like Kart was satisfying, but I feel like 8 Deluxe totally replaces that. I think there is. I mean, I've seen a lot of like hubbub about like the loss of Mario Maker 1.
Oh, right.
That all of those levels are gone. That's a big deal, and it is because there's no way to like import them into Mario Maker 2. Although they should figure that out. Like that would, if there was a way to do that, it'd be incredible. But also like, the Mario Maker 1 ecosystem at this point is as messed up or as like loaded with crappy disposable levels as Mario Maker 2 is, right? So like there's no anyone like looking back on that era of when those levels first started coming out is looking at it with rose tinted glasses, right? Like that's not the reality of that space anymore. But like beyond that, I guess like the Kid Icarus Uprising online multiplayer was like cool and unique. And that game doesn't exist anywhere but on the 3DS. So like there's functionality for sure that we're losing, but I'm just like, who's still playing these things?
Yeah, but I don't know.
I'm sure there are.
I'm sure there are too, because Mario Kart 7, let's say, had to have sold, just gonna guess, at least 10 million copies, right?
Yeah, I mean probably
and
more
so
than that. Yeah,
I would guess that there's a lot of people that do still play Mario Kart 7. That's a good point about Mario Maker. I don't know the answer to this, but if you download levels to your system now, do they should still be able to play them,
they should
right?
stay there, yeah. If you have them downloaded, yeah. And I forgot that was a function of that. So like, yeah, you could. But I mean, like Mario Maker. The first one really didn't have the same campaign thing that like Mario Maker 2 does.
Right.
So yeah, that'll really be lost. Mario Kart 7 on 3DS sold almost 19 million. So,
okay, yeah. So there's a lot of Mario Kart 7.
Yeah. Oh, and also the Animal Crossing New Leaf. That's another one that you won't be able to visit, like your friends' villages and stuff like that's. So there again, we could keep like listing examples, but like yeah, some stuff is going away here.
Yeah, it is that balance, like you said, between how long is the appropriate amount of time to support something like this. But yeah, just a bummer to lose all of those like individual pieces.
Uh, what do you think this says, if anything, about when Nintendo launches the next platform?
I don't think it really says anything.
Right.
I can't remember when a similar thing happened for Wii. Do you?
No, or DS, right? Because DS also had online play. You could play Mario Kart DS online.
Yeah, I can't remember when they pulled that plug in compared to, like
Right,
how
the
far
next
they were
generation,
into the
yeah.
next generation. But I wonder if it's comparable or if because there were so many Wii's and 3D and DS's.
Oh, that's a good point.
That they kept it longer versus, I mean, the 3DS was a successful system, but the Wii U obviously wasn't. Like, they were really eager to pull the plug on Miiverse.
Yeah.
That was a few months after the Switch launch. They
Right.
were like, see you later. So, yeah, I do wonder if there's something specific about the Wii U generation that these things are a little faster, but I don't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah, well, and I mean, not just that, like, they're faster because that generation was like less successful, but because the Switch generation is so successful that they're like, whatever we can do to like migrate people here.
Well, and also we have been hearing about Nintendo using like a new online infrastructure.
Yes.
Starting with something. Game.
It was definitely something.
Yeah. And like Nintendo's never officially like talked about it or anything. But so I can't even remember if it was like data miners or something who found out this information, but basically probably more than a year ago, Nintendo's online games started using, especially their new ones, started using a more advanced networking infrastructure than they were using previously. And I wonder if that is part of the reason for potentially sunsetting these faster, because they are trying to move away from that architecture and having to support that.
Yeah, and if it's like that the alternative would be having to migrate it to like the new like hosting platform, they're like, absolutely not.
Right. Can't be worth it.
No reason that we should be, supporting the Kirby and the Rainbow Curse online features any longer. It is crazy to think that like anything that has like online matchmaking or whatever, that there are like designated servers to like keep that going for as long as it keeps going.
Yeah, makes you wonder like how many servers they need for some of these.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing that they mentioned in the help article is that, hey, it's possible like some third-party game will keep their online going, because it's not like because all of that infrastructure for third parties would be outside of Nintendo anyways.
Right. Yeah, so it's not a matter of like policy for anyone who has games on the platform. But I've also seen that like there are like communities that like keep Nintendo or just like keep servers going. I know Pretendo is one that like I honestly saw like the social media post from them before I saw from Nintendo that they were shutting these things down. That Pretendo was like, we're on it, we see it, we're gonna do whatever we can. So like, yeah, I mean, fan-made servers or fan-sponsored servers have been around for just about any MMO that has disappeared. And Nintendo's got a fan base that's crazier than anyone. So yeah, this will be preserved in some form or fashion. I just wonder how like functional it'll be.
One of the things that I'm really personally interested in as like a Nintendo fan is how Nintendo does and doesn't change as the company's older leadership and developers age into retirement. And younger team members come in and take their place. We've seen this with there was talk about when Splatoon was in development, that was kind of spearheaded by younger developers.
Yes.
And as Shigeru Miyamoto takes on more and more of a kind of like legacy building role, kind of like shaping how, like, I feel like he now seemingly is much more involved in the theme parks and the movies and kind of like...
Sure. He is, at this point, I believe, Pikmin ambassador, right? That's his title now?
Yeah. It seems like Pikmin is possibly the one series that he was heavily, maybe not heavily involved in, but he was a big booster for Pikmin. Although I do wonder if Pikmin 4 was as big of a success compared to the other Pikmin games as it appears to have been, if he will be like, my work is finished and I don't have to worry about Pikmin as much anymore.
And then, sure. He's like, now I'm going to start riding my bike to work again.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and like, because prior to that, it was like Super Mario Run, right? That he was like really involved with.
Seemingly.
And then obviously, like you said, the theme parks and the movies, like that's,
right.
He is involved with like
Nintendo.
Yes.
But it seems like game to game, day to day game development, he is not that involved in anymore. So all this has me thinking about Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and in a Rolling Stone interview ahead of the game's release, producer Takashi Tezuka, who has been working on Mario Brothers since the beginning, had this to say, quote, "We really wanted to give the designers more freedom than we would have in the past, and more so than having a lot of people who've been making Mario games and working on Mario games for a long time. We had a lot of people who are new to the franchise. I said to them, I'm really grateful that you are being protective of Mario, but I really want you to think about what Mario needs to be now. What do you think Mario needs to be in order to play it the way you want to play Mario?"
Which is very interesting, right? Because, like, obviously we love Mario, but, like, it's easy. In a lot of ways, he becomes stagnant, right? That, like, there is a way that Mario sounds, there's a way that Mario moves, there's a way, like all these things that we're just like, yep, this is all part of, like, the universe. But, like, does it need to be that way? And does it need to be that way going into the future?
And I can totally understand, like, if you were working on a Mario game for the first time, that you would want to be so...
He's glass. You can't drop him.
Yeah, like, you wouldn't want to do anything to rock that boat. But I think kind of what I'm taking away from this is that, Nintendo is also aware of the need to change and evolve. And I guess that's apparent kind of in the company, how the company operates in general.
I mean, in some ways, yes, and in some ways, no, right? Like, one of the things that we were talking about from the most recent Nintendo Direct is that it was like, okay, Super Mario RPG remake,
that's
Thousand Year Door remake, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Like, there's a lot of the Mario versus Donkey Kong. There's a lot of, like, here are the old things again. So yeah, it's always a tricky line between, like, innovation and nostalgia. But it's nice to know that they are even with, like, a mainline Mario thing being like, no, innovation's got to be, like, part of it, and that innovation's got to come from the new blood, not just from the old timers.
In that same article, we learned that the game started development around 2019. They say after the release of what I'm assuming they mean is New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. In the article, Rolling Stone refers to it as Wii U Deluxe. But that can't possibly be right.
No, because such a product does not exist.
Yeah.
And it would have been an immediate failure.
But yeah, 2019, I just thought that was interesting to kind of get a little more narrow time frame on when development was going.
Yeah, and I guess that sort of makes sense as, like, Odyssey comes out the end of 17. Although then in my narrative here, they take a year off. It's not right. That can't be.
But it's probably, I don't know exactly how the teams work.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Here they're talking about having a lot of new people on it. So probably not the same exact team that was working on Odyssey. Actually, I wonder if the 2D team and the 3D Mario teams are how much they share development resources.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. We've got there's been those persistent rumors, whatever, for years now about the, like, main Mario team working on a Donkey Kong game that is a 2D game, not necessarily a Donkey Kong Country game, whatever. But, like, are they making Wonder instead? Like, what exactly? I don't know. The inner workings of Nintendo and their studios is so, like, intricate and seemingly fluid. That, like, I feel like the second we understand it, we have outdated information.
Lego and Nintendo are teasing a new collaboration featuring Animal Crossing. Not much is known currently, but the teaser video that was posted on social media shows 8 Animal Crossing characters in the style of Lego minifigures. You got Rosie, you got Bunny, you got Marshall, you got Kappa, you got Fauna, you got Julian, you got Isabel, and you got Tom Nook.
Pretty good selection here. I'm very impressed to see both Marshall and Fauna. Fauna is a personal favorite of mine, and Marshall's a squirrel that everyone likes.
Right, and because Marshall's thing is that he is kind of like annoyed all the time. Is that Marshall's thing?
Yeah, that's right. And he likes coffee. Marshall was on our island for a little bit. Kind of. He's kind of a grump. He's like a cool grump, though. Marshall was on our island for a little bit, and I think we had 2 other squirrels. So we were like, all right, one of these squirrels has got to go. So the next one who asks to leave, we let him leave.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah and I talked about it ahead of time. And it happened when I was playing.
Were you sad that Marshall was the one that wanted to go?
I honestly, I think we currently have none of the squirrels at this point. So, and maybe that happened because Marshall was the first to go, and we're like, well, forget it. Now I don't want any. But there was a long time, weeks, when anytime Sarah was playing and she would like run into a villager who wasn't Marshall, would just go, I miss Marshall. So maybe I can get her this Lego.
Which one is Fauna?
She's a deer. She's a deer, and she's very like maternal. So like she always calls you. She's like my dear and like that kind of stuff. So she's very sweet. And nice. And Fauna is one of those. She's never leaving our island. She's like Fauna's never leaving. Rocco's never leaving. Cookie's never leaving. And Sherb's never leaving. But everyone else can come and go. I don't really care. So watch this teaser trailer thing. It's, like 11 seconds of just like seeing these Animal Crossing characters as minifigs. And there's been like more information kind of like leaked about the sets and the number of pieces in them and the pricing. So it's clear that what they're doing here is making Lego sets of Animal Crossing characters and locations. But I was like, why couldn't we see a Lego Animal Crossing game?
Ooh, cool.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be cool.
Just a different way to like build up stuff and like live in both Animal Crossing and in Lego.
But to your point, there are no other official details about the collaboration. But Lego fan sites did report back in August that the sets are coming in March 2024, and that a total of 5 sets are planned.
So I don't know. It's pretty cool, and especially like it's nice to see them embracing the regular kind of like Lego aesthetic with the minifigs. Because like the Mario is its own thing. Lego Super Mario is its own thing. And then the like kind of boutique like classy Lego sets that are like the other Mario and Nintendo related things, like that Piranha Plant that came out a couple weeks ago. Or was announced a couple weeks ago. I forget if it's out now or not. Like they feel of like a different breed of Lego set. And this is just like, no, these are just like regular. I mean, from what we can tell from the minifigs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's more like the Piranha Plant or if it's more like the Mario Lego set, which is its own weird thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't appear as though there are electronics in. Like, how could you put? You can't put, screens that are eyes on the Tom Nook minifig, and he won't, complain about missing his brother or whatever. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's a very interesting property for Lego to go after next. It made me wonder, like, is there a Nintendo game that you would want to see Lego mini? Figures for or Lego sets for?
I think it would be fun to do, even though I don't really play the games, but I feel like Pokemon would just be ripe for something like this.
Pokemon Legos would be pretty good. I feel like Zelda Legos, like especially
fun
on the heels of Tears of the Kingdom, which is all about building. Like, yeah. I don't know. I think that'd be amazing. And there's so many good characters.
Well, you could do like the Hyrule Castle. Like
yeah,
that would be really cool.
There we go.
Finally, Aspyr and Lucasfilm Games announced the Star Wars Heritage Pack for Switch to be released in North America on December 8th, 2023. So this is a physical release of the games that are already available in the eShop. So The Force Unleashed, Republic Commando, Episode 1 Racer, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, Knights of the Old Republic, and Knights of the Old Republic 2 and those last two will require a download and not be included on the cart. The other weird thing
They're not included on the cart at all?
Seemingly, yeah.
Okay.
The other weird thing is that this is listed as $60, $59.99, but which is $20 cheaper than what the digital
collection
Heritage Pack goes for on the eShop right now.
Well, so I wonder how it works on the physical version, but on the digital version, like the Heritage Pack, which I bought on sale, was 7 separate downloads. Like, I don't open like one hub and then choose between the games.
It's a bundle, basically.
It's basically just a bundle, yeah. And I don't think you can do that with a cart. I think with a cart, you would have to like open it and then select the game. But like then the KOTOR and KOTOR 2, are those?
Maybe they're just codes that are included in the box, codes, and there's no representation of them on the cart at all.
I found these to be bad ports of these games. And remember that Knights of the Old Republic 2, even though they promised they were going to be restoring some uncompleted content, they never got around to doing that. Yeah, so I don't know. I my advice is still steer clear of this one.
Do you remember how much you paid for it?
I think I paid $40 for it.
Okay.
I did not pay $80. I'm pretty sure I didn't pay $60. But maybe I was like using some gold points or something. I honestly don't remember. Do you bring it up here because you're definitely gonna buy it and you're gonna play it?
I think I have. Maybe I just have Episode 1 Racer, and then I played a little bit of Republic Commando when it was part of the Nintendo Switch Online like game trials.
Yeah.
But I don't think, and yeah, I just can't imagine that I will pick any of these up.
Well, not just any of them, but the
all
pack of all of them. We didn't talk about it because I think the show kind of just like missed the window of like the announcement actually happening. But Eastward was recently a free trial game for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers, coinciding kind of nicely with that DLC that was announced for it at the last Nintendo Direct. Which is cool to see them like highlighting and supporting that indie game, and therefore like I don't know. Nintendo and the Switch has this like commitment to indie games, or did like in its launch year and like the couple years after that. Kind of just nice to like have that reiterated here with Eastward and the continuing support. All right, let's get out of the news. That is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, you can join our Discord. All you gotta do is email us, and we will send you an invitation. It's as easy as that. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.